everybody, it's Tuesday, August 5th, 2025. Welcome to the NFL Fantasy Football Show where we're clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose. It's me, your man, MG Marcas Grant, joined by Michael F. Florio and LaQuan Jones. We're here. One, we're all together in the same place.
I can touch you.
And touch each other. Like, that's a thing that hasn't happened in several months. But we're also here in the podcast studio. Again, a thing that hasn't happened in a while. We used to call this our home base. And then
if you listen for a while, this not only is this recognized from the pod, we used to do Fantasy Live
we used to do
here.
Fantasy Live in here once upon a time. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. The reason we are all together and the reason we are here in the podcast studio is we have a special guest coming on the show today. Ooh. It is actor Scott Porter, who you may probably know as Jason Street from the show Friday Night Lights. He is not only a fantasy fan, he's a big-time Denver Broncos fan. So we're going to talk to him about the Broncos, talk to him about his fantasy life, and talk to him about some of the acting gigs as well, too. So that should be a whole lot of fun. So stick around for that. In the meantime, we do have some news we want to get to before we join our special guest. And news just broke literally just
I'm so excited.
A little bit before we started recording this show. Kyren Williams had been looking for a contract extension. All reports out of Rams camp were that it was going to get done. Kyren wasn't worried about it. Les Snead, Sean McVay, they didn't seem worried about it. And there's reason to not be worried about it because it gets done. 3 years, $33 million is the extension for Kyren Williams.
Hold some.
LaQuan Jones, your thoughts?
All eyes on me because you guys think I dislike Kyren. No,
I don't know. I don't know. We're just listening to your words. That's all.
Listen. I'm happy the boy is paid. Now we can get back to the road to the Super Bowl. 33 days until we see Matthew Stafford and Kyren Williams into the end zone, and we win Week 1. That's it. That's all we can talk about.
I'm willing to wager now we're not going to see Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
Hold up. First of all, let's not put that.
No. He might throw a ball into the end zone. We are never going to see Matthew Stafford cross that goal line.
Listen, we might, man. You see him pop off in that 49ers game, man, with that RPO, man. I don't know. McVay gets a little.
Are you
sneaky.
I don't know. I mean, like, and I don't say this to be mean or anything, but the longer this back issue goes and the fact that he's seeing specialists, I mean, at some point you do have to worry about his availability for Week 1. I'm not talking about season long, but at least for Week 1, availability at some point does have to come into question.
It does. And again, I'm not worried about it right now because McVay's not worried about it. Rams fans, we're kind of cool, calm, and collected until we get new information that, we should start to worry. But we got one of the toughest SOBs in the game, man. Like, what are we talking about? When you talk about a dog, you look in the dictionary, it's Matthew Stafford's face right there. Like, what are we?
I'm not doubting that.
Dogs get old at some point.
Look, man.
They don't stretch either.
Apparently, according to Cole Beasley, right? They don't stretch.
That's what it is. Stafford needs to start stretching.
He needs to stretch. Do some yoga, man. Like, that's all it is.
In all reality, I had a chance to be out at Rams camp over the weekend, talk to J.B. Long, the radio voice of the Rams, and I did ask him about Matthew Stafford. And he said, look, right now in the building, there doesn't seem to be a lot of concern. But, he did concede that, look, the more this goes on, the more it does become a little bit of an issue here. And just ideally, they would love to see QB1 on the field, right? I mean, just getting him some work, especially you've got Devontae Adams, a new wide receiver. They've never worked together before. So ideally, yes, it would be that he's there. But, JB also conceded that, as you mentioned, Matthew Stafford, one of the toughest guys in the league, that if it were a regular season game, he would try to find a way to suit up and play. So we'll see.
I'm not doubting any of this. But I'm going to keep going back to point me to a coach who was ever like, yeah, my guy is not going to be good to go.
This dude is wrecked.
Like it's great to hear everything. And I'm not worried yet because it's only August 5th. If it was a week from now, I'd be a little bit more worried. Yeah. But if we're at this point next week, I think then it's time to start
that date is going to be a huge date.
And I do think we
need to see him play.
I do think there's a little bit of importance put on this week because the Rams are doing the joint practices in Oxnard with the Dallas Cowboys. And you know how Sean McVay works. He treats these like the preseason games, right? Because you're not going to see the starters during preseason on the field. So these practices against the Cowboys sort of simulate that. And so I think there's, a little bit of, I don't know if concern is the word, but just they would prefer that he were there and ready to go. But at the same time, they're also going to be cautious and make sure that he is healthy when the time
I'll
comes.
be there today. See if he's on the sideline doing some back stretches or something, man.
You're going to be massaging him up.
I am. Like, look,
sure
man, how's the back? Look, man, let's go. Look, get a specialist, man. Get that back right, man, so we can get you back out there.
While you're up there, can you ask Jerry Jones his thoughts on Nicki Minaj and Des Bryant?
That was wild. Oh, my God.
No comment.
I'm not going to get into it, but if you are curious, just Google Nicki Minaj and Des Bryant.
That's a crazy random link up right there.
It is
but,
insane.
And he was like, yeah, I don't want no problems. And she was like, you're getting
it.
I don't care what you want. You're getting beef. Anyway.
But before we move on from the Rams.
Yes.
Kyren Williams, end of round 3, steal right
Steal.
I think so.
Yeah.
I love that value.
I think so. I think because he's a guy that doesn't get talked about amongst the workhorse backs, but the history of Sean McVay offenses suggest that as long as he's healthy and as long as the ball security is not outrageous, he's going to be the primary back. As much as it makes you sick to your stomach, LaQuan, that's going to be the reality for this offense.
Just split the ball, man. Just give it to Jarquez or Blake Horn, man. Please, man. I just think that this offense would be much better with a 1-2 punch.
The only person that gets that treatment is Cam Akers.
I did have this thought. Well, one, I'm looking at ADP right now on Underdog at least, and Kyren Williams is not even an RB1, and like he's the RB14.
Oh,
That would put him in RB2. Like he is now falling behind Hampton and Brees Hall.
That's crazy.
I'm buying Kyren
That's
Williams.
crazy. You have to.
It's a different conversation. I just don't understand the Omari.
So wide receiver, running back.
I'm getting sucked into him.
You are?
I am.
Are you?
All right.
Because the longer Najee's out, the more I think the
Yeah.
early season work goes to Hampton.
But what if it's
And that
early
happens,
season?
He runs away with it.
What if it's early season? He gets that spike, he gets the usage. Then Najee comes in right in the middle of the season while you're on the playoff run. Like, what if that happens?
If Hampton gets the backfield to himself to start the year, I think Najee has a role, but I think Hampton kind of runs away.
We hope.
But my thinking from the start was like Hampton early season, probably a split. I think as the year goes on, talent wins out and he kind of separates a bit. But the longer Najee's out, the more Hampton is getting further and further.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about this in the car today. Kyren Williams. I was like, I could see if LaQuan gets his way, this backfield could operate like the Bills, where Kyren is the guy, but then you have like a hammer like Jarquez Hunter is your Ray Davis, and then Blake Cora maybe could play the Ty Johnson role, but Kyren probably gets more pass usage than James Cook. But I was like, I could see that being, but it's still going to be heavy Kyren.
Yeah, I think that's going to be heavy Kyren. That's a perfect segue, by the way. It's almost like you read the rundown. Because we go from the Rams to the Buffalo Bills, where James Cook is holding in, which is kind of a relatively new phenomenon. I think in the last few years, guys are like holding in. Like, yeah, I'm here, man. You can't find me, but I'm not.
I ain't dressed. I ain't doing nothing.
I'm not doing nothing, but I'm here. It's literally the Marshawn Lynch. I'm here so I don't get fined. Literally what it is. Anyway, James Cook holding in Buffalo. People asked why he wasn't practicing, and he basically just kept saying one word over and over again, which was business. He is trying to get paid as well. It seems like Brandon Beane was unaware that this was going on. It feels like he was alerted to the hold in by reporters. I know his comment was something to the effect of, it's not ideal. I know we talked about Terry McLaurin, his trade request. Everybody knows about Micah Parsons and his trade request. Those two guys seem to have a whole lot of leverage. I don't think James Cook has that amount of leverage. So I'll ask you, Florio, is it about to be Ty Johnson's season in Buffalo?
I still think this ends with James Cook getting I don't know if it'll be the long-term deal he wants. What I could see potentially maybe happening is them agreeing on a number for this year and moving forward. I was talking with someone yesterday, and I was like, on one hand, you have to be concerned of, like, is this going to drag into the season and impact his play? On the other, the Bills might look at it as, like, we know this is the last year with you. We're just going to run wild. Like, we're going to give you all the volume.
Everything.
and so I still like taking James Cook in. You talk about Kyren, like, being a little bit of a discount in the third. James Cook is going late fourth round right now. Like, to me, if you wait on running back, he's a great get to still be your one, even though you're paying an RB2 price.
That feels like people are kind of reading the tea leaves on the contract situation too, and they're like, hey, look, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm not willing to touch him in the first 3 rounds.
I don't see a world where James Cook doesn't play this year,
Yeah. That's for sure. Yeah.
So, and I don't think the Bills trade him.
No.
The Bills know they're the ones with the leverage.
Right.
So I think he.
Well, with Kyren getting paid, they have a number where they can start. That's the floor.
They've been talking about like 11. I think they would give him, but he wants the 15 plus that Saquon got, and it's like,
Yeah.
All right, pump the brakes, brother.
And I love James Cook. The Bills themselves were like, look, you're not Saquon, man, and like it's. I know every athlete thinks they are, but like realistically, if he got 11 million, that's something that works for both
That's
sides.
Kyren money.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's appropriate for James Cook. In Pittsburgh, Steelers offensive coordinator Arthur Smith says, "I've had to adapt. That he is more willing to sort of build the offense around his personnel." LaQuan, look, a couple years ago, he was fantasy football public enemy number 1 in terms of how he was using guys. Do we trust that he is going to get the ball to his best players?
Trusting Arthur Smith, he is the fantasy streets boogeyman. Like, you would be trusting Mephisto, all the Marvel fans out there. That's the deal that you're making when you put your trust in any of the Arthur Smith pieces in the offense. And look, I was talking to Nick Farbar. He is a Steelers beat writer, and he was saying that this offense, it looks like it's DK Metcalf or nothing. Like, that's just basically what it is. Like, Caleb Johnson, he has issues with blocking. He has issues being a starter, a workhorse of that backfield. Jaylen Warren is the starter right here as the number 1. But it's like, I don't trust anything about this offensive personnel with Arthur Smith on the stick. So, I'm good.
By the way, if you see Mephisto in the comic books, there's nothing about him that looks trustworthy.
No.
The dude is literally Satan.
If you just watch Ironheart, he looks like a cool, calm, collected guy with Riri Williams at the diner at that table. So it's like, yeah, he's a smooth guy.
But
You
like,
get along with him.
in the comic books, the dude straight up looks like Satan. Like, why would you wouldn't trust that man?
He is the fantasy streets boogeyman. He has proven who he is to us each and every year. So, no.
I do think it's interesting, though, that they're saying right now it's just kind of the DK Metcalf show because I was starting to maybe believe in Caleb Johnson a little bit, but this is maybe turning me around.
You got to pull back a little
I'm
bit.
still believing in Caleb.
All right.
I believe in Warren this year, though. That's the only one that I feel like that has like a safe floor, like a where he's going in drafts.
That's the thing. He's
all floor.
I don't like those.
Marble floor.
he lives in a very tiny house, man.
Yeah.
Like the floor and the ceiling are very close together for Jalen.
Like Khalil Shakir.
Like
That's
but like I had Warren on teams last year, and I'd start him, and I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna get 7 or 8 points. Like, in a good week, I might get 11. You know, like it's just. I want nothing to do.
And I said I bought in big on Jalen Warren last year. I felt like, okay, he's going to be similar to Najee Harris, but draft price is going to be better. And he was. The problem is neither one of them was super
ate each
exciting.
other alive.
Yeah.
And that's what happened again.
But Caleb is Najee with big playability. That's the difference to me.
Snooze.
Not if he can't block. Anyway, last little bit of news here. Dan Quinn talking about Terry McLaurin's trade request, saying, quote, "It is an emotional time." We haven't had a chance to talk about the trade request because it happened actually last Thursday when we were doing our interviews out at Rams camp. So that was the show. So we didn't get a chance to talk about this. I know you are a Terry McLaurin stan. I know you are a Jaden Daniels stan. Will Terry McLaurin be a Washington Commander in Week 1?
1,000%. Like I have zero doubts of this because one, Terry has all the leverage here. Like, if you were the Commanders, you have a rookie quarterback, franchise quarterback, on a rookie deal. Not a rookie quarterback, sorry, on a rookie deal. You brought in pieces like Tunsil and Debo. You're clearly in win-now mode. You don't, when you have this cap space to spend, you don't get rid of your best weapon.
Yeah.
So what you do is and he even came out, Terry, and was like, I don't want DK money. I just want more money than I'm getting paid right now.
Yeah, I want to get out the condo and get into a little big crib with a 2-car garage. That's about it.
This is like... I know asking for a trade used to be a big deal. It has become a negotiation tactic in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like, that's all it is.
Did he clean out his socials yet? Like, is the off the bio?
That's
Commander?
next.
Like that.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
definitely
when he
next.
starts changing his social media avenues and stuff like scrubbing it, that's when we get.
Did you see that now they could apparently bring him back? Like, I forget which athlete it was that deleted everything from the team, and then when they got his extension, it was all just back to next.
It might have been CD Lamb, actually.
It might have been. Yeah, it was one of these guys. And I'm just like, even that isn't cool anymore.
Yeah. It's like, stop. We know what you're doing.
So here's my thing about this, and I saw a lot of the takes about how, well, if you pay him, then does it hamstring your ability to roster build down the line, and he's you never give a wide receiver this old this kind of money. You don't get to say that when you are the Washington Commanders.
Yes.
You don't. If you are a team that has a history of player development, if you are a team that has a history of success, right? If you know, right, if you're the Chiefs, if you're the Eagles, and you've been consistently successful, then I can listen to your argument of, you know what, we're not going to pay you. We think we can find somebody or develop somebody to be just as good or better than you are. I would listen to that argument from those teams. When you are the Commanders and you have been a doormat for decades now, you have been a punchline.
And he's been the face of your franchise.
He's been the face of the franchise. He's been the guy that has put together solid seasons regardless of who's at quarterback. You don't get to sit here with a straight face and tell me, yeah, this is not going to help our roster building because he has been the roster.
He's the glue.
He's been the glue. Like, you don't get that luxury. You pay Terry McLaurin, and then you work around it and you figure out the rest of things.
You know you have cap these next 2 years, and you know you have 2 years before you have to pay Jaden. Front load that contract.
Yes.
Be like, we're going to give you 70% of what you want the first 2 years, and then after that, make it where you could get out of the contract or whatever. I'm sure he'll accept that. He wants to get paid now.
Just take care of your guys.
These athletes are smart. They know the end is closer than the beginning. When you're at 30 years old, he wants to get paid now. Pay him now.
Also,
everyone wins.
They can look up salary cap situations too. They have access. They have access to the same social media and the same.
They do.
They got the same access to Beyonce's internet that the rest of us do. They can look up all this information. All right, there you go. There's our news for you. Take a break. Come back with Scott Porter. Get his thoughts on the Denver Broncos and more. That's coming up next on the NFL Fantasy Football Podcast. Glad to be joined now by Scott Porter, actor Scott Porter. You know him as Jason Street from Friday Night Lights. Fantasy fan. You're on Fantasy Live. It's been a few years now, man, but it's good to see you again.
More than a few.
Right.
More than a few. It's been a while, man. We're getting up there.
We are.
Grays in the beard now.
But it looks good, man.
Hey.
You know, it's like aging gracefully. We're all trying to age gracefully here, man.
Yes, sir, man. I saw a report the other day that real aging doesn't start until you're 46, and that's what I just turned. In July.
Nice.
So I'm gonna battle it all the way.
So I've been real aging for years now at this point. So, but gonna do a little getting to know you for folks who maybe don't know. You grew up in Nebraska, where obviously football is a big deal, but there's not an NFL team. You're wearing the Denver Broncos shirt. You were a Broncos fan. How did you land on that?
Well, I mean, I guess I could have followed like a Husker to the NFL, but back then it was like Irving Fryer and a bunch of offensive linemen. So it's like I wasn't going to be a Pats fan. People don't understand, I think, when, I'm 46, when I was growing up, what was on for the 1 or 2 games you would get on a Sunday is who you would start to follow. So being in Nebraska, we get a Chiefs game. Maybe sometimes the Vikings. There are a lot of Cowboys fans in Nebraska.
Oh, boy. You picked right on. Pointing out.
Yeah. But, the Broncos, proximity-wise, I got to see the Broncos play a lot. And, this was during the 80s, like during the height of Elway. So it's funny, I was talking to my buddy from Philly the other day. There's a bunch of Cowboys fans in Philly because they would black out the games for the Eagles because they wouldn't sell out. And then they put a Cowboys game on instead. So it's like you figured out teams you loved and teams you didn't love. And, man, I just loved watching Elway play. And I also kind of had become a fan of Patrick Ewing. He went to the Knicks.
Let's go.
And so any team that was like playing the Knicks consistently in the NBA, I didn't want to be a fan of any of those cities. So like the Bears were on every Sunday.
Okay.
And I didn't want to be a Bears fan. So I landed on the Broncos, and it was mostly just because of the grit of John Elway. And geez, his arm, man, just the power of it all, man. So Elway was my guy. The Broncos were my guy. I watched them lose a lot in the 80s.
Yeah. This guy's telling my story, man. Like, they give me crap because I'm a Rams fan from Jersey, but come on, man. The loyalty is built when you're watching the game.
There you go, brother. That's exactly right for me.
For 2 decades, or probably 2+ decades, you made the right choice, right? Like, you went from Elway, they had Peyton Manning, like winning Super Bowls. But now are you ever like, maybe the Chiefs were.
Maybe.
No, man. The thing is there was a change in ownership. Pat Bowlen understood the game of football, and he honestly loved the game of football.
Okay.
And you saw when, the mental decline happened for him, and it went pretty quickly, and so much, love and prayers to his family and everything. They went through all that. The ownership started to change. The management started to change. We taken some big shots on some younger guys, and and we just kind of missed a bunch in a row. But it happens to every franchise at a certain point. But I think we're in good hands now with Bo Nix, and I think the ownership group is starting to try and figure it out. We do have some money to throw around, not the wrong way.
A little bit. Russell Wilson.
So it is what it is, and I'm hoping this next decade or so, because we had a record-setting run of playoff appearances for the Broncos for a couple of decades, and I hope we can get back to that winning culture. But all shouts out to the Bolin family, man. They were one of the best ownership groups that a fan could ever ask for when I was growing up and watching that franchise. So
I got to ask you, do you think Sean Payton's the guy to get you back to the big dance?
I was a little bit taken aback last year when he took over. Some of the moves that had happened, the way he was throwing Russell Wilson under the bus, the way he was throwing other coaches under the bus, like with Hackett. I mean, listen, is he
That
wrong?
was a shot.
Is he wrong? I don't know. Right?
He's been proven right.
I'm trying to be. Look, I play a mayor on television right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's politically.
I see your angle.
But you know what I mean? Like, I think he is getting his guys into his system now.
Yes.
I think he is a guy who has his way. And he walked into a situation where he just didn't have the right suite of players to do what he wanted to do. But this year, you look at our draft, he started drafting team captains. Even Pat Bryant, who people saw as a little bit of a, reach. I was like, no, man, I watched this guy play in the Big Ten. I'm from Nebraska. I saw Pat play a lot. He doesn't drop the ball. He's a team captain, strong body. He could do everything that you had Michael Thomas doing back when he was playing, for the Saints and when he was at his height.
Compared to right now.
Yeah.
And so for me, like, strong hands, goes, attacks the ball, knows how to box out. Sean loves those guys. Yeah. Cortland Sutton knows how to box out. Now we've got Evan Ingram at the Joker. Like, you see all these moves he's making is to fit what he wants to do. And when somebody has that strong of a system and also the ability to identify the guys that are going to work in it, I think the arrow's pointing up. And I just hope that health can stay strong and we can figure it out.
We know the coach is awesome, but football is a quarterback-driven sport. And you said you're on Bo Nix, but talk about like Pat Bryant, people calling a reach. A year ago, people were like, Bo Nix, they kind of reached on him a little bit, and it started off a little slow. But look, I'm a Bills fan. We played you guys in the playoffs. Bo Nix made some plays against the Bills where I was like, this guy has me worried now. So, like, your future looks like it's in very bright hands.
At the beginning of last season, two coaches did, I think, a fantastic job with young, talented quarterbacks at different points in their life. Jaden Daniels in Washington, early on, the playbook was not open for him.
Yeah.
And you could see it. You could tell. But Kingsbury took him, pretty slowly, and they kept on pushing. They opened it up. By the end of the season, you watch this man just completely blossom. Same thing kind of happened in Denver. If everybody remembers that first game against Seattle last year, I think it was Seattle. It was atrocious. Everything was the sideline.
It was rough.
They were trying to make Jaleel McLaughlin a 40-catch guy. They were just trying to get the ball out to him every single chance they got. And Bo just didn't have the playbook open to him. The one thing I hope that Bo does this year that he wasn't doing a lot last year was placement on these little cover two breakers where you've got these corner routes, and you saw it against the Bengals a couple of times.
That game was awesome.
It was an incredible game. Couple of throws that Bo wants back. Couple of throws that Bo wants back. And as soon as he starts hitting that, I mean, the whole field is open, man. I mean, he showed he can make throws at every level. You want to talk about that game, that big Mims catch in the end zone. Incredible catch by Mims, but also for Bo to get it there on the run like he was pretty awesome.
You're someone with pull. Do you think you could ever call up Sean Payton and be like, hey, Marvin Mims is a
he's a guy.
Maybe we get him the ball more.
I don't have that kind of pull.
Come on.
Although I will say this, Coach Rule in Nebraska followed me on Instagram yesterday.
Let's go.
That's a big win, right?
That's a big W. I want to ask you about this backfield, though.
Yeah.
I know you got to be excited to see RJ Harvey back there, J.K. Dobbins. I mean, does this backfield get you real excited to draft one of these guys on your rosters this year?
We're talking about other leaders like RJ Harvey,
also
team captain when he played at UCF, where I was an invited walk-on, actually.
Way
back in 1998. Yeah,
well, all right.
Dated myself a little bit.
All right.
So go Knights. I actually got eyes on this guy in college quite a few times because I still check back in with the old program. And I can tell you this guy can do 3-down back work. He'll give up his body in pass protection. He catches the rock. And in zone seams to space, like he can go. He can flat out go. Our offensive line was really solid last year.
Yeah.
If we take one more step forward in that, like, sky's the limit for him. And again, I think they were trying to make Javonte do a lot of things that Javonte wasn't necessarily the guy to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think RJ can be that guy. So if you want this Joker back who can kind of do everything, that's fantastic. I've been a massive J.K. Dobbins fan for a very long time, to the point that in a dynasty league, I traded away Zeke when he was still kind of at the top, but I saw him kind of go to that age cliff where I need to move him now. And I moved him for J.K. the year that he was drafted. And without this string of unfortunate injuries, I do believe that J.K. would have been one of the best pure runners in the league. And we saw flashes of it last year. He's smaller than people think he is, but he's tough as nails, man.
Yeah.
Last year, he looked great in Los Angeles for most of the season. I hope that we get that part back to him. A really good veteran back if he's healthy, and then a rookie that can do it all. I'm super excited.
I know this is a fantasy podcast. We talk mostly offensive players, but I do want to ask you about this Broncos defense because they were very good last year. And I say this as a 49er fan because they've added Dre Greenlaw. They added Talanoa Hufanga. It just feels like the offense I think is going to be good for Denver, but it feels like you don't have to score a ton of points just because this defense is going to shut people down this year. What
people don't remember about Peyton's Saints, I think, is not only does he like to get upfield fast on offense, he likes his defensive players to come downfield fast. We're gonna create turnovers. We are going to attack you, and we're going to dare you to put that ball up. We are going to come after you. And the guys that we have right now are the guys that can do that. We haven't seen. Nick Bedino was fantastic last year, but now having Greenlaw go sideline to sideline. Last time the Broncos won a championship, the unsung hero of the defense was Danny Trevathan, who could get sideline to sideline and could cover most tight ends. Like, that was a big problem spot, right? This year, I don't think we're going to have an issue like that. So we were great last year. We could be incredible elite this year. And shout out to the ownership. This is what I was talking about earlier. We paid our guys. Allen's paid. Sertana's paid. We're ready to go, man.
Yeah.
Like, we are ready to
Wheels up, baby. Let's go.
It's just huge right now because there's like 4 or 5 teams waiting on some of their best players to get paid and get into camp, and not having to worry about that, I feel like is huge for a team. Like,
talk to Cowboys fans right now.
Yeah, Bills fans. James Cook holding out.
Bengals fans.
Well,
yeah. Same.
Kyren got paid, so I'm good.
You did mention Evan Ingram playing the Joker role, and it feels like since Jimmy Graham, right? Like, we have been chasing Sean Payton tight ends, but also we've been chasing Broncos tight ends for a while now.
Nice.
Albert O, Albert Troutman, like he is clearly, in my opinion, the best tight end since Jimmy Graham that just Sean Payton's had. How do you think his season looks with the Broncos?
What's interesting to me is, like, over time, last year they were kind of asking Cortland to play a bit of that. Cortland was all of a sudden like lining up inside and running these seams, these high posters, like, he'll just find the guy that fits the mold. The fact that this can be Evan Ingram now is just huge for this offense. I mean, he's shown at every stop that he's played at in the NFL, both in New York and down in Jacksonville, that he's a guy that finds space. And he's long, he's athletic, he can go get it. He's just got to really, really want to work inside. Yeah. Because I think a lot of people underestimate, because we always talk about Jimmy Graham as like this off-ball guy.
Yeah.
Right? He never really lined up and blocked. He never did that. But he was still tough too, man.
Yeah.
He wasn't afraid to take hits. He would go up there and I think I heard Tom Brady talk about this last year. He was talking about how quarterbacks have not learned how to keep their receivers safe and healthy. That everybody just throws up these medicine balls all the time now.
Hospital ball, man.
Yeah. We saw Graham get lucky because he had quarterbacks who knew where to put the ball so he wouldn't get hurt.
Yeah.
But he still wasn't afraid to stick his head in there and like stick his nose in there and go catch the thing. So, hopefully Bo knows how to keep him safe, how to keep him, keep these defenses from being able to truck him too much. But, health is the only thing with Evan over the last couple of years. If this team stays healthy, man, like,
is this
it's
the year?
tough.
Is this the year that someone takes the division from Kansas City?
I don't think you can ask me, but you can ask, but you can ask the team, right? And we can see from the outside looking in. No one has asked for a trade. No one's complaining about where they're playing in the scheme. No one's asking for the ball more. No one's demanding anything. Guys are getting paid, and the guys that aren't getting paid are waiting till next year.
Yeah.
No one's out there complaining. There's no noise coming out, which means things are good.
Things are opening up.
And if things are good and these guys are believing in each other, they're buying into Peyton's system, then
your division might be the toughest in the NFL, though.
100%.
Right now.
Chiefs, Chargers, and then I don't think the Raiders are a gimme anymore. With
They're sneaky,
Carroll
man.
there and Genty, and like I think also this might be the greatest assortment of head coaching talent one division has ever had in NFL history.
Yeah.
I think it's going to come down to defense in our division, and I'll put my money on the Broncos defense.
I like
I mean, look,
I'm with it. Let's go.
The Chiefs. I know the Chiefs. The record was 15-2 last year, but it seemed like they were as vulnerable as they have been in a long time. I mean, it was 15-2. They easily could have had 5-6 losses.
So I'm going to say this: we're a fantasy show.
Yes.
I've been talking about the Broncos, but the Chiefs this year are also like in line for an offensive bounce back, and I think we're going to talk later about players avoiding or players that I end up drafting more often than not. The fact that Pat Mahomes is all the way down in like 7th, 8th round, like is kind of crazy when you consider he's getting Rashee Rice back. Xavier Worthy is going to take another step. Maybe Travis Kelce is a little more focused on football. Isaiah Pacheco is getting healthy. They might have found in the late first round, which Andy Reid always does, a left tackle that can actually anchor an offensive line. Next thing you know, like Pat's got a little bit of time. This team defensively might be a little worse. Are we going to get Pat from 4 years ago?
This is what I've been saying all summer. Like, I'm in on the Chiefs offense this year.
He's got him ranked.
He
got him ranked over Bo, though. He's not a believer. He's not a believer.
Well, he's Mahomes, you know?
It's
like,
Bo. What are we talking about? Did we watch what he did last year as a rookie? Stop it. Stop it.
But for me, you know, that division, there's going to be a lot of fireworks, except for when they go and play the Broncos.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to sit your stars. When
Okay.
they come,
I like-
when they come into my
I haven't checked the schedule, but it would be great to see if one of those is like an island game, like a Sunday night, a Monday
Ooh,
night,
that
something
needs
like
to
that.
be
That
prime
might be
time,
kind of fun.
baby.
That might
Oh,
be kind
yeah.
of fun. Let's talk a little bit of fantasy football here, though, because you are a fantasy guy. I mean, that's why we got you in here. I mean, let's go way back into time. When did you start playing? Do you remember like that first year who you might have had on those teams?
I do. I went to New York to do a musical, and it was the first time I was in one place for a solid year. Because
Where
I
in
went
New
to-
York, if you don't mind me asking?
I did a show called Altar Boys. I lived in Long Island City.
Oh, I'm a Queens guy.
Okay, great. I lived down by the water, Long Island City, off the Broadway stop.
Oh, beautiful over there.
Yeah, and so I'd go in and I'd do a show, and our stage manager was a huge football fan, and I was a huge football fan, but I had never played fantasy because I'd never been in one place long enough really with a group of guys that, you know, I could actually go and draft with and then, you know, smack talk all season. But I was on a year contract, and, you know, we fired it up in January, so by the time football season came around, we were all like, we were ready to go.
Yeah.
So Dennis put together a 14 team
Oh, you jumped in on 14.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
full ADP
Wow.
league.
Oh, my God.
So for me, I immediately was like, okay, full ADP. All right, what am I doing here? I'm taking Jonathan Vilma. I'm taking, and I had Andre Johnson was my offensive star.
Okay.
Nice.
But I had Andre Johnson. I had Drew Brees. These are some of the early players that I had way back. Zach Thomas, Jonathan Vilma. I had high tackle guys at my linebacker spots, and it carried me to the championship game my
Nice.
rookie year in fantasy football.
That's how it always is. That's
Yeah,
how
man.
it starts. It starts at work, and you win the league. First year. I mean, like everybody's origin story.
Bro, but we start overthinking in year two. Like,
Yes, I gotta be perfect.
14 team full IDP. That is,
Yeah.
you put your feet to the fire.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. No, we were,
Man.
and you got return yardage. So
Oh,
That's
wow.
sick. That's sick, man.
we actually
This
so it
league was before its time.
This was like full on. Like you started on hard mode.
I know. I know, but see, that's my problem. Like, I sit down to play a video game. I'm like, what is this ultimate mode? Oh, wow. Must play it. You know? And then I don't get off the first level for 17 days.
Oh, so
It's like, I can do
just
this.
grinding.
I can do this. You throw the game in, you get your butt kicked for a while, and you're like, maybe I should look up exactly what I'm doing here, and then you
Yes.
figure it out.
Yes, yes.
But another like story about my early days is on the first season of Friday Night Lights, which was like 2 years after I started in fantasy football. I was like, all right, I'm going to be a first-time commissioner. I'm going to put together a league. All right, first-time commissioner. I'm going to get 10 guys together, So a couple of the cast members are on, like Zach Guilford, who played Matt Saracen. He's a big Bear fan, so he was just drafting every Bear he could. And one of our stunt guys, Ryan Nail, shout out to him, he, at a time when nobody would ever take a receiver or a quarterback in the first round or the second round, because it was all running backs all the time. Like I took Sean Alexander. Like I was like, these were
nice.
like, he took Tom Brady and Randy Moss.
That worked out though.
Was this
He won the league.
year?
Yes,
he
it
had
was that
crystal
year.
ball
It was
out
that year.
That worked out.
He had never played. You want to talk about a first-time origin story, winning the league. Those two guys, and we were mocking him. He was ridiculed.
That fuels the winning spirit.
I mean, that year I had a good team too.
Yeah.
Reggie Wayne, I had all these guys like top of their game, and he just had 70 touchdowns. That two guys
Never be top.
Oh well.
Like, I mean, it's one of the best QB and receiver seasons ever.
Just our head in our hands. Everybody else. In the
Would you
league.
guys like to talk as you're like, obviously not while you're filming the show, but like in between sets and stuff? Was fantasy like something that was like a rivalry on set or something?
I would say there was like 4 guys in that league that really cared, and the rest of them were just like along for the
It's
ride.
a thing to do,
Forgot to
You
set
know-
my lineup for 2 weeks straight.
Because,
Whatever.
well, a lot of our stunt guys, like at the time, they were former collegiate football players. And like
Okay.
back then, it wasn't cool for a guy in the league or who wanted to be in the league
To
be playing fantasy.
Gotcha.
Right.
It's changed now.
Yeah.
Like we've had some guys
All
who, like
players playing
Austin
now.
Eckler did
Yeah.
a world of good.
Oh.
Like, you know what I
He
mean?
opened
We
the
will
floodgates.
always love Austin Eckler
Yeah.
for that reason.
You know what I mean? But like back then, it was very much like fantasy. What's fantasy? Like that's and so like a lot of our guys that were even in the league were like, I don't care. It's not real.
See me on the real football field.
Yeah.
you
I'm
know?
over here
my
like
God.
you paid $100 to be in the league. This is as real as it gets.
This is real deal,
That's
man.
what it is.
I gotta ask you, what is your draft prep though, man? Like, are you going super serious in it, like before draft day, and like how early are you
Like
actually
binging
starting?
pods. Like what are you
Yeah.
doing, man?
Watching college football the year before.
Oh, wow.
That's how early I start. No,
As a veteran.
The thing is, man, is even in redraft now, like we have to know who these rookies are,
Yeah.
right? We have to know who these guys are. We have to know where they landed. We have to know what these coaching changes are. We have to. So, the fantasy football season doesn't ever really quit. Like even in the NFL playoffs, you're watching Kellen Moore just waiting to see where is he going. Right? The Eagles are winning a Super Bowl, and for us, we're like, okay, who's going to hire him? Where is he going? And
Yes.
can I still remember that when he was in Los Angeles, things weren't great. So like what happens in New Orleans this year? We all think of Kellen Moore as like the wonderkind, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, am I laying off of Saints players? I
Ooh,
kind of.
that's a hot topic.
We'll talk about it later.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's funny you bring up though the college football thing. My home league has been around since I'm in high school, and there's a person in the league who Bob's cover years like doesn't love the NFL but loves college football but plays fantasy. So every year he's always drafting like the big guys out of college, and for years he'd finish in like towards the bottom of the league. But the last couple of years he's had a lot of success because I feel like rookies are just they're hitting the ground running now. So like being a college football guy, you have to have some edge in your league, I'd imagine.
Yeah, and watching a lot of Big Ten football has been really a good place to
Yes.
be.
Yeah.
The last few years, I know the SEC truthers, and they're not wrong about the profile of athletes that come out of their conference, but the Big Ten has been turning
You
out.
guys are rivals now. I
athletes,
just
man.
I'm a USC guy, so yeah, we are conference mates now.
I was at that game last year.
Yeah, it's wild. I still wrap my head around the fact that Nebraska and Rutgers and like our conference games. But that's
Yeah,
where we are now.
it was crazy. Home cooking last year. Ref just held that flag in his pocket. An obvious takedown in the end zone as Dylan Raiola was leading the team to glory. Oh well, but the thing is like we talk about LSU as being wide receiver U, but people are just like, how did people for a couple of years miss the fact that Ohio State is just
They're
as
on a
much
run.
wide receiver U as LSU is, right? So you just have to know these players coming in. Brian Thomas was probably my most drafted player last year.
Nice.
And, Jaden Daniels was a target for me. And for a lot of guys out here on the West Coast, they didn't watch LSU as much because LSU wasn't competing for a championship necessarily. But there are some fantastic players on that team, and you got to be able to watch that, figure out what these profiles are. A lot of people thought Jaden Daniels was too slight. A lot of people had opinions on him, but this guy is a gamer. And if you saw him in college, you knew where this thing was going to go. If you watched Bo Nix for 9 years in college, he had a lot of maturity, So, no, but the offseason prep, and then, I kind of just ignore the noise. And actually, I don't touch a mock until maybe the second week of August, because even right now, I'm looking at these players' ADPs, and I'm understanding that I've got to give plus a round to this guy, plus a round to this guy. Helium's going to start to go.
Kyren just went up.
Yeah,
Guys get paid.
There are guys, I love the 5th round running backs right now, and I know that they're all going to go in the 3rd round.
Yes.
Right? So everybody
a
out
month
there
ago, they were
listening
7th
gotta know
round.
that.
7th
Now
round.
they're 5th. So
They're 5th.
Yeah.
And that's
it's
how it
happening
works.
quick.
Yeah,
for sure.
So, I don't start really mock drafting in earnest till like the second week of August. This year, it's really unfortunate, though, because I have a draft on the 12th. I'm like, what are we doing, guys?
Wow.
Let's
One
go.
week.
1 week?
It's just, and it's too early. It's too early. It's too early. But it's okay.
How many leagues do you play in, if you don't mind me asking?
I play in 6 leagues.
Okay.
Well, that's
Yeah.
not
That's-
bad.
That's respectable.
I got up at one point when I was on Heart of Dixie. I did a couple of fan leagues for charity, and I had way too many leagues I was a part of, and I was up to 14 leagues. And my wife looked at me and she was like,
Too many.
You need to stop. You need to stop. And then 3 years later, and God bless her, thank you so much, Kels. She was like, you need to trim it down to
Yeah.
5.
I think
And
all our
so I
wives had that
negotiated with her to
conversation.
get a 6
Yeah.
because it was for charity. I was like, but what about this one for charity? She's like,
You know what the secret is?
All right,
You got to get
6.
your wife. Like, I got my wife into a family league. I'm not in the league, but she's in.
That'll help.
Now
That'll
she
help.
like
That
on
helps.
Sunday she'll be like at week 1 she didn't care, but by like week 7, 8 she had Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin, and she's like, "How are the Commanders doing?" And I'm like, "What? Like,
Who are you?
Bart?
my wife played in our best friends league for a number of years, and she played in all women's league and won a couple of championships. And once we had kids, though, she was like, "I'm stepping out. I'm out of here.
too much.
I can't do
So
this."
she's
right
the
now."
fantasy player in the family.
She's
The recent champion.
She cheered at the University of Texas. She was there when VY led the
okay.
Longhorns to a championship against.
USC.
But
I was like, I'm glad you're here, but I don't know. I feel attacked a little bit today.
That might be your low point of
I'm
you as
feeling-
a sports fan.
I'm feeling
right?
a little bit
Like,
attacked today.
oh, you guys got yours. You're fine.
We're fine. We're fine. We're taking a quick break. Come back, dive into some more fantasy football stuff with Scott Porter. Stick around for more of the NFL Fantasy Football Podcast. Talking with actor Scott Porter about his fantasy football journey. Though we got into the backstory, the history of all of that. Let's look at this year, right? You're coming into this year. When you approach a draft, you said you got one next week even. Do you have a preferred draft strategy? Are you a 0 RB guy? You waiting on quarterbacks? How do you tend to operate?
For quite some time, when the wide receiver first round thing started to break, like kind of 2017, 2018, I was steadfast 3 RBs, round 1, 2, 3. And I was winning leagues that way. I was sticking around till the 4th and the 5th and finding the Juju Smith-Schuster in his breakout year.
Okay.
Or finding, like these different guys that I saw and I really believed in, and kind of seeing these wide receiver breakouts and being able to grab them late. You can't really do that anymore because all those receivers that you were able to wait on, you just can't wait on anymore.
No.
And with the diverse backfields that we have now across the NFL, it's like really tough to do that. So listen, I go into each league, based on whatever the point structure is, with a little bit of a plan. I think you should have a structure to what you're going into.
Yeah.
But this year especially, and we talked about this earlier, I love these later round group of RBs. There's like a group of like 6 of them that are solidly 5th, 6th rounders right now, ADP wise, that allow me to say, okay, I do want to play around a little bit with this elite tight end guy. Like last year, Trey McBride, I had a plan. Last year. Trey McBride in the 3rd, Ken Walker in the 4th. Big plan for me last year. And, when you target players, it can be really, really rough. But I also tier everybody out. I've got my tier breaks. I know where I want to go. But, McBride led me to a championship last year in a 14-team league. So I'm, have that same kind of approach this year. I think he could be even better, So because I like these later round RBs, it gives me a little flexibility at the top of the draft to maybe take this elite onesie position.
Yeah.
Can I take an elite quarterback? Can I take an elite tight end and get away with it and still have enough depth on the backside, right?
Yeah.
But no, man, I think you just got to be water in these drafts.
Head on the
So,
swivel. Never know what the league makes you do.
for me, I have players I love. I really look at new systems. I really look at coaching changes. I really look at offensive line upgrades. There are teams I like to target. And, if it breaks my way, I get all the guys I love. But when does that ever happen?
Never.
Ever.
So you talked about the players you love, but is there any players that are like red flag, caution, like I am fading no matter what?
You definitely hinted at the Saints for sure.
Of course there are. I mean, but the thing is in fantasy football, it's all just cost.
Yeah.
Right? There are players I will tell you I will not be drafting. Travis Kelce is pretty high on that list for me. But if I don't have a tight end and I'm in the 8th and Travis Kelce is still sitting there, I'm starting to go, maybe he's getting younger.
You start playing in your mind, like,
Start playing some Taylor Swift music.
So, the thing is like, there are players definitely I'm avoiding. There are situations I want to avoid. But if we just blanketly say, oh, the Browns are bad this year, quarterback play, that's a whole thing, right? But their suite of skill possession players are actually not too bad as far as pass catchers.
Yeah.
Right? And you've got Judy, you've got Njoku, who I'm okay leaving a draft with Njoku late. It just depends on where I'm getting him, right? So there's nobody that I officially X out unless I think Mixon might be that guy for me this year.
Scott.
The thing
I'm
is,
fading. He's loving it.
He loves Joe Mixon.
the thing is, I don't love uncertainty to start the season.
Yeah.
Now, I don't mind back half of the season players. I would almost much rather have that guy than a first 6-game star, right? Like the Adam Thielen from last year, or like whoever it is, right?
Yeah.
Because nobody believes in that guy anyway. You can't trade him. People are just waiting for the wheels to come off of a first half-season player, right? And you're trying to peddle him. You're like, hey, what's up? He's going to keep this on all year long. So back half players I don't mind, picking up, but I don't like uncertainty.
Yeah.
New offensive scheme. It's got to be better than Bobby Slowick's system. But at the same time, like, foot injury, what really is it? How severe actually is it?
Yeah.
What are we not getting here? Because it seems like every week it's like, oh, yeah, no, it's a little worse than we thought. Yeah, no, it's still a little worse than we thought.
Yeah, I mean, this has been going on since May. They're saying.
I know.
Like,
So for me, that kind of thing is the only thing that really scares me off a player. I loved Mixon last year.
Yeah.
I loved an older back, new scheme, better quarterback around. Not better quarterback, but but a young rising. Quarterback, a great head coach. Like I liked Mixon last year, but this year it's just injury stuff that really. And that's like with Chris Olave. I'm like, he's a guy I love.
Talk about it, Scott. I'm back in.
You're back in now, huh?
He's in the satchel of discontent.
But you get to this place where you're like, okay, the injury last year should not be discounted because it's something that we've seen be repetitive over time for other players. So where are we at exactly on that? And who's playing quarterback? Oh, boy. This man is a beast. I love Chris Olave. He's on both my dynasty teams. Traded up to grab him in one of my leagues, and I really believe in the talent. I just don't know what's going on around him. And then the injury thing, it's uncertainty. So that's the thing that'll make me back off players.
I don't really have a question here, but for the people listening, I think you should try to take Scott's approach, like, because we talk about it a lot, but everyone always wants to know, what do you think of this player? And like, you have to think about it situationally, and it starts with the play caller and like the scheme that you're in, and I think that is the most overlooked thing in fantasy football. Like, people always look at the quarterback and the receivers, and that's it, but like, starting from the top down, I easily understand why you have so much success in your leagues with that approach. Like,
man, we got some guys like Ryan Nail who will win one every now and then by just throwing darts at a board, and that's what makes this sport
exactly.
beautiful.
Exactly.
Sport.
You talked a little bit about you mentioned the Browns, right? And I like David Njoku like you. I'm sort of so on Jerry Jeudy. How much does that quarterback situation give you pause though in Cleveland right now?
I mean,
it's the whole thing, right?
Can we put a train through the pause? What kind of? It gives me a lot of pause, man. But also, you look at Stefanski and say, what has he been able to do year over year when we constantly discount the offense year over year. Back when they didn't have any skill position players, they're like, there's no way the run game still trucks. Well, it did.
Right.
Nick Chubb was a beast, on a year when everybody said that don't touch a single Brown because there's no way that offense is going to move at all. And yet he figured it out. I think he's, as far as NFL head coaches go, I think people are a little misunderstanding of how good he is as a schemer, as making sure that his offenses still function. Man, I saw a Broncos-Browns game last year where the Browns just decided to go crazy.
Yeah.
It was nuts against this defense that we're talking about is like one of the most vaunted in the leagues. I mean, they had Jameis at quarterback just slinging that thing.
Hey, big Jameis
The most fun quarterback in the
They don't have Jameis this year, but if Joe Flacco's starting at quarterback, are we really super completely scared of these guys? I don't know.
I'm actually in on him. If it's Joe
I like
Flacco.
Deontay Johnson because I don't like Jerry Jeudy. I think Jerry Jeudy was a product of the perfect circumstances. Like Jameis locks in on his wide receiver one. Their play caller for that stretch was Ken Dorsey. He likes to lock in on the one, but I'm like Deontay Johnson. I know he's Deontay Johnson at this point. Like all the stuff he's pulled the last year, but he still gets open better than anyone in the NFL or most people in the NFL. So I'm like, I could get in on that. I did want to ask you, though, being such a big college football guy, you talked about like RJ Harvey and some of these other rookies. What other rookies are you really excited to watch this year?
This year, and I know we had the run a show like players you're super in on or players you're super out on. Spoiler alert, Emeka Egbuka, rookie that I'm really in on.
All right.
Yeah,
We're talking about established quarterback who has really found himself. We're talking about, even though we've lost the offensive coordinator, a coaching staff.
They do that yearly in Tampa.
Exactly. But the structure is there. Chris Godwin, we're not really sure what's happening. Mike Evans is still fantastic, but aging. And trust me, the other three is from Nebraska. I saw him for a very long time playing up in Husker Red. And Emeka Egbuka is he's a special player. And he could be everything that Chris Godwin was and is. And I know they extended him, but there is a wide receiver vacancy coming in that organization very soon. And Egbuka can do kind of it all. Mm-hmm. And so for me, he's a guy that I'm looking. Last year, the four players that I really targeted or that I knew I wanted to leave every draft with was Josh Jacobs, Brian Thomas, and Emeka Egbuka fits at Brian Thomas for me this year, Trey McBride, and Kyler Murray. And I know that didn't work completely well, but that leads me down the same process of this year. Yeah. Where am I getting values? Where am I getting the elite guys? And who are they? Why are people hesitant on a player that I'm super high on, right? So Josh Jacobs last year for me, I did not understand why that man was not a second rounder.
Yes, right.
Long. I didn't understand it. And this year, that's kind of where I'm at on all these fifth round running backs. Ken Walker specifically, but James Conner is way too low.
I love James Conner.
Chuba Hubbard, way too low.
Yeah.
He's not getting his respect, man.
He's not. I had him last year on a team that went to a championship, and I know that they want to vary up the offense a little bit. I know that Canales wants to get the ball out on first down a little bit more this year. It's not going to be all Chuba, but even when people knew it was coming last year, the man was just toting the rock.
Yeah.
He's going in the 6th round. So other backs that people are deflating a little bit I want to target, but this year, for me, Brian Thomas, that breakout guy could be Emeka Egbuka, because if Godwin gets a slow start and he's out there on day one just catching the rock, if we see Mike Evans tail off a little bit towards the end of the year and Godwin come forward, it doesn't mean that Egbuka is completely displaced. This is a guy that could have a place all season long on an offense that we know can throw up points. So that's a guy that I'm really super in on. As far as tight ends go, man, we were talking about Trey McBride earlier. I mean, if that guy scores more than one touchdown,
He can only score against the Rams.
Which came against
apparently.
the Rams, by the way. Yeah.
It gave me pause because I drafted him in the third round of a 14-team league last year, and I won the chip. So I'm picking 14th overall, and it's a keeper. And I even thought about keeping him at the 1-2 turn.
I might.
No tight end had more red zone usage last year than Trey McBride. It is like they tried on purpose not to get him. You know how hard it is to throw that ball that many times to him and not get more than one? Come on.
But outside of McBride, I mean, Kittle looks fantastic. But the other tight end that I am 100% totally in on is a late round guy. He's a top 10 talent. I don't know why he's going in round 12 or later. I won a championship 2 years ago with Sam Laporta as my tight end.
Mm-hmm.
Colston Loveland to
Let's
me
go.
is just a
Okay.
guy.
Boy.
I thought you
Now
might
we
go the
talk.
other rookie.
Yeah. I know Tyler Warren's got a ton of highlight reel stuff out there.
Mhm.
I know the Colts are very high on him. He is just exciting for them because we've been watching Mo Alley Cox. We've been watching all of these guys
Yeah.
in Indy for a long time, and to
It's
see
like Colby
this,
Fleener.
yeah, right.
That's a pull.
Fleener the cleaner. But to see Tyler Warren is like, people are very excited, right? But Colston Loveland was drafted by the guy that made Laporta,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
His first ever pick as the Bears coach, right, was Colston Loveland.
Over Warren.
Over Warren.
Komet's running with the twos right now. Loveland's out there. There's a lot of uncertainty with what exactly DJ Moore does in this offense, with the step that Rome Odunze may or may not take. Caleb Johnson, to me, I'm a big Husker fan.
Mhm.
Watching the Huskers last year in Dylan Raiola and watching Caleb Williams in the NFL, there was a lot of similarities between the two of them. Holding the ball just a little too long, not using their feet the way that they should, not unlocking that kind of part of their offense. And they both can run, right? Caleb can run,
Mhm.
but he would get himself into tricky situations because he is able to process the game. He just didn't have the time to get it out. And so he's got to know when it's time to go. But Colston Loveland's going to help with that, I think, a whole lot. I think the Ben Johnson of it all is fantastic. So for me, if you miss early on these elite tight ends, like I'm not taking many shots early. I'm kind of waiting. If Njoku drops and you compare him with Loveland, or even if you take an elite guy and take Loveland and let him
That's a
develop.
great combination.
It's my favorite way to take. Like I'm in on McBride in the third round if you could get him there, but if not, like take one of these rookies and pair him with like an Njoku or your favorite veteran like Tucker Kraft, whoever it might be. I love addressing tight end that way because you get the floor with the veteran, but the rookie, Colston Loveland could be Sam Laporta from 2 years ago, like
Yeah.
you said. Like he brings all the upside.
Yeah. One tight end I don't draft a lot of is Brock Bowers. And it's only because, not because I don't believe in his talent, not because he's a Raider.
I'm about to say, I know.
It's because of the skill position talent that is drafted around him.
Yeah.
And what I can do for my team with them.
Yeah.
Versus who gets drafted after Trey. Right? Like the group of players in the late third round, I'm not as enamored with as
I don't like taking a tight end in the first two. Like if you flipped Bowers and McBride, I'd be more in on Bowers if he was going in the third round.
Yeah.
And so I agree 100% with you.
But last year, Kyler Murray, if we're going to switch to quarterback,
Sure.
Kyler Murray was like my big target in almost every draft. I really thought his legs, his health, his weapons, everything was getting upgraded.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't see it, and it didn't work out completely. But I'm not, hey, we got to take the losses.
Yeah,
We can't just be all hits, right?
Yeah,
right.
I'm going to come in here and tell you, I had all these guys. I did draft a fair share of Jaden Daniels and a fair share of Bo Nix. But Kyler was the vet guy that I was targeting in almost every draft. And I was really trying to stack him with Trey everywhere that I could.
Yeah.
This year, the guy that I like at quarterback that I end up with more often than not is a guy that, because of the weapons upgrade around him and nothing done in the run game and hopefully offensive line improvement, could just have a big year. People love George Pickens. People love CeeDee Lamb. Jake Ferguson just got paid.
Let's go,
How
Scott.
Dak Prescott is still like kind of deflated is interesting to me.
Yeah.
So, if you're going to go elite tight end early, if you're going to wait on a vet who can have a big season, I think Dak is still kind of that guy. He's not a top 5, top 6 guy, but I mean, he's not too far off.
Yeah.
If those weapons, if we love all these weapons, and we want to talk about like touchdown regression for Trey McBride, Jake Ferguson is another guy who is in line for that. So, his targets in the red zone versus, his touchdown, expected touchdowns versus what he actually had. I mean, Jake Ferguson, and we got to remember, he got paid too.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Follow the
now they've
money.
got 3 pass catchers. What did they do in their backfield? I'm not quite sure. This might just be another year where Dak's got to really sling it. So that's another guy that I'm kind of targeting. So
No, I do. I love Dak. I think that's great. I thought a big thing you talked about too, like you talk about drafting a tight end early. It's sort of that opportunity cost, right? You're taking a player there when you could have had, you could find yourself a top running back or a top wide receiver. you can get another tight end a little bit later on in the draft. So I thought that was very cool. Want to guys a couple of things. I mean, we're at a point now in the history of entertainment where reboots, reunions are a lot of fun. I got to ask, would you be down if they did a Friday Night Lights reboot or reunion? I mean, like, what is Jason Street up to after high school?
So this is always a tricky question for me because I don't want to sound desperate. But hell yeah, I would. Yeah, let's go. Friday Night Lights is one of the greatest shows in television
Huge
history, and I say that knowing that I was a part of it, but I'm also a fan. Like, what people have to remember is, like, Jason Street had a very isolated journey on the show. Mm-hmm. So I watched every week when it actually aired on TV live to see what awesome. My co-stars were doing, and they were just turning in incredible work week after week, and I knew how good the scripts were, but I didn't get to work with them a lot. So I watched as a fan. So as a fan of the show, like, who would say no? That being said, you know, I do believe it's a new location, a new team, a new situation. However, Jason Street, if you allow me to pitch a little bit.
Please, let's go. Please.
Is Jason making appearances?
Went to New York, you know. He became a sports agent. That was how he ended the show. You know, his beautiful wife, Erin. They've got a kid. Maybe they got a second kid now, you know?
Yeah, man.
But NIL is a thing.
Yeah?
Ooh. High school kids are getting researched and uncovered by these agents all the time now, you know? Agency doesn't start in college now. It starts in high school. Mm-hmm. So now Jason Street might have a chance to come down to some part of Texas, look at some Texas football players. So, look, if they ask me and if it serves the story, yes, 100% I would come back. But regardless, I'm going to be watching as a fan.
So I love Friday Night Lights. How did you spend time like in like Texas or like preparing for the role? Because I grew up in New York. High school football is not a big deal there. So watching that show, I was always envious of like, it must be so cool to like live there. Was that go into your prep or anything like that?
So for me, being from Nebraska, you know, the one thing that is spoken for is that you are a Husker.
Okay.
You know. Husker red or Husker dead. That's like that's the phrase in Nebraska, right?
Thanks.
Unless you have a crazy uncle like my Uncle Noah who decided get a wild hair up his butt and just become a Sooner fan just to piss everybody off.
I was like, that could
True
not
story.
have gone over well at Thanksgiving.
True story. Uncle Noah just shows up with a Sooner hat on. Everybody's like, this guy. But I went to high school and college in Florida. And, you know, at the risk of upsetting Texas football fans, high school football in Florida is also a very big deal.
Huge deal.
I mean, and those teams are raw and they are hungry and they don't get to play in multi-million-dollar stadiums, you know, so their passion for the game is driven a little differently. And I feel like a lot of the SEC have that same kind of opinion about football, and that's why they're so passionate about SEC, right? Texas football comes from just that like pride in their state, their ability to spend the money on all these stadiums. So that was one thing I had to go down and get a grip on early was not the passion for football, but like the situation that these kids play in. I went to a high school football game in Pflugerville, Texas, which the Dillon Panther P is based on actually the P of the Pflugerville football team. And I went there and they had this incredible multi-million-dollar 18,000 seat stadium.
Wow.
For like a town that like really the population's only like 80K. Like a quarter of the town is expected to be just, you know, at the stadium on Friday night. And it's north of Austin. It's not too far away from like a big city. And still it is just attended, sold out, not just by the kids that go to the school, but by the generations that had come before them. And so that I had to get a grip on. But it was so funny. I was actually doing this off-Broadway show that I talked about earlier. It's about a struggling Christian boy band. I had blonde hair like Justin Bieber.
Wow. You had the Beaver before the Beaver?
And the first AD calls me 3 weeks before we start production on the pilot, Casey Hodenfeld, and he goes, "Hey, Scott," and I can hear the panic in his voice. And it's a Sunday afternoon. I've got 2 shows this day, and I'm just sitting on the stairs. I'm just keeping up with scores, you know. I'm just looking through the app, you know. And he's freaking out. He's like, we didn't ask you. And I was like, "Didn't ask me what, Casey?" He's like, "Can you throw a football?" And I was like, "Yes, I got you. I played high school football, you know, I played college football." So, no, I was a wideout. I ran a 4.53. I had good hands.
Ooh,
right. I grew up watching Elway.
Yeah.
And the Three Amigos and, some of the other players in the 80s that no one else in the world can name for the Broncos but me. But I also grew up because the Seattle Seahawks used to be in the AFC West. I grew up watching Largent a lot too.
Okay.
And so for me, like Largent was always like the way he attacked the ball, how he ran his routes. He was very, very smart with it. So that was kind of how I patterned myself. And I called him. I was like, I could throw a football. I got you, boss. It was really cool though. They brought the quarterbacks coach and the head coach out from Compton Community College.
Oh, cool.
We did a 2.5-week football camp before we started shooting the pilot. And then, the football aspect of it, like we had athletes as our stunt guys. And I got to give them a round, man, because they were incredible. Then my research became, how do I play someone who has suffered a catastrophic spinal injury? And that was a much different thing. And I got to give a shout out to Coach James Gumbert, who coaches our U.S. Paralympic quad rugby team.
Okay.
Man has won medals for the country playing the sport that Jason Street learns in the show. He was there with me day in and day out, telling me what life is really like from a wheelchair and like how it affects you, what you can accomplish, all of these things. And I wanted to make sure that we respected that story in such a huge way. And so him and occupational therapist named Rob Kadur were our 2 technical advisors. I had them with me at all times. And all my research then went into how do we tell Jason Street's story respectfully, honestly, and really get this out to the country, like, what it's like if you suffer an injury like this. Yeah.
This wasn't on the rundown, but I could ask you questions about Friday Night Lights all day. Like, how did your football knowledge, did you think, and did the other actors and actresses know as much football? It doesn't seem like you know your stuff.
Yeah, no, I know my stuff. As far as like pure athleticism, Taylor Kitsch played junior league hockey, so he had the athletic structure and the passion for a sport.
Okay.
So he understood Texas, but he's from BC, Canada. He's from Kelowna, Canada.
Okay.
But you can apply how they feel about junior league hockey to how they feel about high school football in Texas.
Right. Gotcha.
So he was able to really go there. Jesse Plemons actually played high school football for Mart, Texas. He was their quarterback.
Okay.
Sneaky athlete, actually.
Sneaky.
But outside of that, a lot of the cast could kind of care less about sports. outside of ZG, Zach Guilford, Saracen, just a Chicago guy, and he's Chicago everything all day long. So he's a big Bears fan. He follows them. Didn't really play the sport as much, but he definitely knew his stuff. But outside of that, I mean, it's tough in this industry in Hollywood to like find guys on every set or women on every set that are like really passionate about sports the way that I am, because I'm a maniac.
So we'll send.
Yeah.
One last question for you.
Yeah.
You need one drive to win the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
John Elway or Peyton Manning?
Ooh. It's easy for me.
I think we
would
could tell by
guess
how he
because
was
of-
talking about him.
You and I are about the same age. So I have a good guess, but I figured I'd just put it out there.
I mean, Peyton Manning might be the single greatest regular season quarterback we've ever seen, and he was able to get a couple of chips late in the career. Elway, kind of similar. Elway, when he retired, though, led NFL history in wins at quarterback. He led NFL history in comeback victories, even more than Captain Comeback Roger Staubach himself, right? Elway was the guy that would sacrifice every single part of his body to will a team to win. And the teams that he took to victory in the 80s against the Browns, who were better teams, like if you stack it up.
Those Browns teams were really good.
The fumble and the drive. People forget what happened after the fumble. Elway still had to go get it done.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he went and got it done.
Yeah.
The drive, he went and got it done. And one of the greatest NFL football games I've ever seen in my life actually was just a regular season. I think it was a Sunday nighter. It was after Montana went to the Chiefs. And it was Montana versus Elway. And there were 4 touchdowns scored in the final 2:13 of the game. It was insane.
Wow.
And it was the two of them going back and forth.
Yep.
2 giants who just did not want to lose, just going after each other. That was the kind of fire that Elway had. Peyton is so cerebral. He also has a fire. Trust me. I mean, the guy also like really, really, really wants to win. But I would take Elway just for the element of his arm strength, his ability to sacrifice his body. All we need to see is the helicopter in the Super Bowl.
Wow.
Right.
To know that this man will just sacrifice it all.
So when you're pulling up to the Broncos games, what is the fit like? I'm doing a fit check. What is the kicks rotation looking like?
Which, by the way, got some. I know you can't see it at home, but some dope 4s on right now.
No, 3s.
Oh, 3. Sorry,
Threes.
my bad.
So I got whatever. I'm gonna stink out the studio.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So these are
Broncos colors.
Those are clean.
These are the Knicks Jordan 3s actually, which
Knicks
which
tape.
works
But
because
it works, yeah.
I'm a
you know,
huge Knicks fan.
I'm a huge
So-
Knicks fan because growing up in Nebraska, Saturday morning cartoons, immediately afterwards, the Big East basketball would come on.
Okay.
Hoya Destroyer playing for
Yeah.
Georgetown,
Mhm.
Patrick Ewing himself. That's when I fell in love with the sport of basketball because it was something so foreign to a kid from Omaha, Nebraska. Like, what is this music? What are those starter jackets? What brand of basketball is this? And so I followed Ewing to the NBA when he got drafted, and I became a massive Knicks fan. Worked out.
This is the year, right?
Uh,
Brunson and Co. They're taking us to glory.
I will be positive about the Broncos all day long. But the Knicks, it is like sacrilegious to be like, this is the year. I mean, we got to just
I
like,
flew to Indiana for Game 4 to watch them go down 3-1 this year.
Yep.
I was heartbroken.
you know, man, this year was special, though. I love this team almost more than any Knicks team I've ever
They're my
loved in
favorite of all
life.
time. That's why I'm, for the first time, I have hope.
But even then. Yeah. You know, so.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man, no, the fit check, let's see. Man, I said starter jackets. I've got this. There's a company out of Columbus, Ohio, Homage.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
incredible.
yeah.
They did a line of NFL starter jackets a couple of years back, so I got this really nice Broncos starter jacket. You know,
with
I
the
got
kicks
a number.
to match.
I got a number of now. I get. Am I superstitious? I'm a little stitious. I have a few Broncos T-shirts that are like these are the game day ones, right?
Oh, yeah.
These are the ones
Okay.
that they get to go to the stadium. They get to go, and then I've got a number of J's because of the Knicks and Bulls rivalry. I've got a number of J's that, out of respect, like Jordan made Knicks colorways, number of different shoes. So I've got my 3s that I'm wearing right now.
Yeah.
I've also got my 1s that are orange and blue, nice and bright.
I have those. Wait, are they white as well?
Yeah, they got white on the
I
bottom.
think I have the same one.
Yeah,
Wow.
but I put a black lace on them because they look really clean with them. But yeah, that's the fit check. I walk up. You know, I got
Love
my
that.
starter jacket. You know, because of course you're in Denver in the fall, so you got to stay a little bit warm.
Gotta stay warm.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you could see them here. I mean, they play right next door once.
Yeah, you could see him a home game.
Yeah. Every Chargers
In
game
Los
is a home
Angeles.
game.
It's a home game, right? Exactly. Exactly.
No, the Chargers don't let me come to the Broncos games. They're like, Scott, come to any other game. Last year I saw Chargers Bengals here.
Okay.
And I just love seeing football.
Yeah.
So I'm on a show right now called Ginny in Georgia.
My wife loves it, by the way.
Oh, tell her thank you.
Will do.
You should also watch it. But I'm in Toronto, so 2-hour drive down to Buffalo. I have seen a number of Bills games the last few years.
That's
I've seen
awesome.
some duels
I'm-
between Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. I just love going and seeing football anywhere, anytime, any place.
I've yet to
So-
go to Buffalo for a game. I'm a Bills fan. I need to get there as soon
Got
as
to,
possible.
bro.
Like,
There are very few stadiums I have not seen games in now.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I've been
whi-
able to do a lot.
which ones? If you
Still haven't seen a game in Arizona. Nope, that's a lie. I haven't seen Arizona play in Arizona. But I did see the Patriots' perfect season get ruined by the Giants.
Yeah. All
if
right.
you're ever gonna
In
go to a
Arizona.
Super Bowl, that's the
That's
one.
the one.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Let's see. Carolina. I haven't seen a game in Carolina. I haven't seen a game in Jacksonville. And the one that I want to go see a game in that I haven't yet is Pittsburgh. I think that's like
Okay.
a fan.
That's an experience, yeah.
That's a fan atmosphere that I haven't experienced personally yet that I would love to experience. I've been to every other NFC North team
Yeah.
game, so
course.
even Cincinnati, I've been to a game in Cincy. So, that's another interesting fan experience. They're just expecting the worst. I imagine if I go to Pittsburgh, they're all expecting the best.
Of course.
So-
Absolutely. Oh, man.
But before we say goodbye,
Yeah.
could you, for old time's sake, hit us with the "A Clear Eyes, Full Heart Can't Lose"?
Yes, sir.
And I'm sure you get asked all the time, but as a fan of the show, I mean, I can't pass on this opportunity.
Yeah, man. Well, I got to say the first two. You got to.
Of course. Then we
Oh,
finish it
all
off.
three of us.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Got to finish
yeah.
it off, right?
All right. Thanks for joining us, everybody, today. Clear eyes, full hearts.
Can't lose.
Woo!